We've all been in that situation where, you want to do this max raid battle. You want to get this cool Pokemon that can have really good stats and be giant. But you just get stuck with terrible NPCs. What's good, Chaotic Nation? It is your boy Chaos here. We are back with another episode of Sword and Shield content coming to you. Today, we're going to be talking about max raid trainers, and we are going to rank them from best to worst. Now, why I'm ranking them from best to worst and not worst to best is because they honestly all pretty suck. They suck pretty bad. There's a few that are good, and the rest kind of suck. So, rather than making this a video where you're going to know who the top is going to be, why not do it the other way, where you're not going to know what the bottom could possibly be? So, that's what we're going to be doing. I know it's a little backwards, but, it's something I want to do for this video, and I feel like it works out better. So, sit back and relax as things get chaotic. Starting off at number 1, we have Snorlax. Alright, so this thing actually is really good. And the reason I put Snorlax at the number 1 spot is its stats are incredible. Snorlax has a really good HP stat, really good defenses, so it can tank some shots, and also it can actually do some work too. It has a wide variety of move pool with Giga Impact, Body Slam, Crunch, and Stomping Tantrum. And I feel like you can just sit here with Snorlax, and it's good for pretty much every situation. While some of the other mons are only situational and can only be used in certain raids, which they never get put in. But Snorlax is an overall good mon, a great typing, and normal being only weak to fighting, having good defensive stats. It's a really cool Pokemon to use in this, and it's going to be helpful for your team. So definitely Snorlax is the best pick for a max raid trainer, but of course you don't get to choose which ones you get. And so you gotta deal with that. So hopefully y'all are getting Snorlaxes. I feel like they're pretty rare, but hopefully you're all getting Snorlaxes. Number 2 on this list is Heatmor. We got Heatmor coming in here. Again, another really cool mon. Not as defensive or as bulky as Snorlax is, but still relatively decent. It's got a wide variety of move pool in different kind of stats and attacks. So you got Fire Lash, you can lower defense. You can paralyze with Thunder Punch occasionally. You got Slash, the high crit ratio. You got some really cool moves on this thing. And, Heatmor actually can put in some work. Because, you may get defense drops that might help you out. And just having a decent move pool actually will help you out a lot with dealing with, opponents. So, I feel like Heatmor actually works really, really well for this kind of battle. Number 3, we got Throw. Throw, okay, it's not as good as the other two have been. But, it does have some diversity in move pool. It does have normal type and fighting type moves. However, if you get into a max raid with a ghost type and you have this on your team, it's useless. So, that's not great. But it does have the abilities to deal with some of its opponents. Brick Break is a very powerful move. Revenge gets nice power if it gets hit, which is probably going to happen because usually one of the moves hits everybody on the field. So, Throw can be really useful for a team. And I think it fits really well with this group. Number 4, we got Pikachu. Alright, wow. Wow. I'm honestly surprised that Pikachu is number 4 on this list. This is the point where we start going to the bad Pokemon. So you see how there's like 21 of them. And at number 4, we're flipping to the worst side of the list. That's not very good. But Pikachu actually is pretty nice to have on a team. And the reason Pikachu works so well is because it does have that wide variety of moves, but it also gets Quick Attack, which allows it to go faster, and it does use Electro Ball as well, because that can lower the speed stats of your opponents. And that's really great to help you out. Of course, they have to have the shield can't be up or else it's not going to work, but it would be really great if their shields were down and you could paralyze them. So, that's really cool. And Pikachu honestly is a decent attacker. A Focus Sash allows it to live at least one turn, hopefully at least get one shot off before it dies, so that's something that most of the other mons don't have. But nonetheless, Pikachu is actually pretty decent in this. Next up, number 5, we got Eevee, the other counterpart to Pikachu here. The reason Eevee works out so well is similar to Pikachu. It has a little bit of a move pool. It's got Bite and normal type attacks, but also has Helping Hand, which is actually really useful if you have something like a Zamazenta, a Zacian, or a Eternatus that you put in. And if it uses Helping Hand, which it honestly probably always will Helping Hand your Mon, the one who hosts the raid. So you do something like that, you can put a big dent in your opponent right off the bat and makes Eevee more helpful. The only downside of that is it does use it sometimes when the shield's up, and that's not helpful at all, because you just want to hit the shield and break it at that point. You don't want to try to like boost anything, you want to just break the shield. So that's a little bit of an issue, and that's probably the only reason why it's slower than Pikachu on this list, because Helping Hand can be used in the wrong situations. Meanwhile, Pikachu's moveset pretty much just works all the way around. Moving on to number 6, as I said, we continue going to the worst mods, and we have Salazzle here. Now, Salazzle's a really good Pokemon, a really good glass cannon, and that's why it's under Pikachu and Eevee, because it's a glass cannon. This thing gets a ground type, it's dead. Hits a water type, comes against it, it's dead. Psychic type, it's dead. You get the point. If this thing gets hit at all, it's dead. It doesn't have a Focus Sash to help it out. Like Pikachu and Eevee at least have Focus Sashes. This thing doesn't, and so it's not very useful. It will get a hit off before it dies. It does have the chance to burn or paralyze, as well as lower defense with Fire Lash. So Salazzle can be useful, but it's gonna probably die a lot, and you're probably gonna lose because it keeps dying. So just keep that in mind. Next up at number 7, we got Weavile. Now, Weavile's also a really cool Pokemon. Again, another Glass Cannon. And the reason Glass Cannons are on this part because they don't have Focus Sashes, and they need Focus Sashes. But it doesn't do as well as Salazzle for the reason that it really doesn't have a good Ice-type move. This thing is going to be outspeeding anything. Why does it have Ice Shard and not Icicle Crash? Like, give it Icicle Crash. This thing could get Flinch Hacks with that, and it would be actually pretty decent. The only thing really it's got going for it is got crit chance with Slash, and then it's got boosting potentially with Metal Claw. It's got a wide move pool, so that's nice, but it's just gonna die in a hit. So yeah, not useful that way. Next up is Quillfish. We got an interesting mon here. Now this is very useful because it does have Intimidate. The only issue is if you're fighting something that has Defiant, it's useless. It is absolutely useless. It's actually your detriment to you. So that's why it's here. At least it does have a Focus Sash this time. But Brine, Waterfall, Poison Jab, and Pin Missile, not the greatest move pool, but it does have a little bit of type diversity for Bug type with a Bug type move and Pin Missile. So that is nice. However, the likelihood of Quillfish coming into a match that's not a Defiant Pokemon, it's very low. I've seen countless times where I've done a Bisharp raid and it's been a Quillfish coming in and I got a +1 Bisharp to deal with first turn, so that's never fun. Next up, we got Delmise. Again, this thing is actually pretty decent. Got good move variety, got Steel, Normal, Ghost, and Grass. Got a way to recover HP, which is always nice. However, it's going to die really quickly because this thing is not that defensive. This thing has gone down way too many times in matches I've done, so it's a good mon, but it doesn't meet the standards of the other ones because they at least can hit before they die. This Delmise is probably just going to go down and not really do anything for your team, so yeah, not really useful. Next up is Torkoal. So the fun thing about Torkoal is it has Drought and sets up the Sun, which is nice if you are bringing a Fire type or something with Chlorophyll or something like that, which you honestly have to just hope at that point you get a Torkoal if that's your strategy. But it does have Rapid Spin to boost its speed. It can Flame Wheel to boost speed as well. It can burn with Flamethrower. It can lower stats with Clear Smog. Now Clear Smog is actually really useful, but you have to hit it at the right time, and that's the problem. If it's against a Steel type, which you know you're probably going to see the Torkoal versus a Steel type, it's not going to be able to use Clear Smog, and that's not helpful. So while this is a decent mon all around, it doesn't really have an attacking prowess. It just kind of sits on your field and sets up Sun. So that's what you got to deal with. Next up, we got Jolteon, and here we go back to the Glass Cannons. Speaking of the Glass Cannon, Jolteon's here. It's got a good moveset. Electric and fighting in normal. Got good things to hit everything, but the issue is it's going to die really quickly. And Jolteon, despite the other ones, they actually can do stuff for you. Jolteon just kind of hits things. So that's why Jolteon's just this slow in the list. It just kind of hits things. The only other issue is Double Kick only breaks 1 shield instead of 2, which I really think they should be able to do that. Maybe make them based off of damage percents and not off of like hits, because that, you know, If you want to use hits, just bring a skill link like Bullet Seed Chinchino or something like that, and that'll work. But that doesn't. It only does one for each attack. So regardless of how many times you hit the mon, if you attack once, it's only gonna break a shield. So I don't like that mechanic, but that's a different video. Next up, we got Maractus, and so Maractus is actually decently useful. Little less than Jolteon in my mind because its moveset doesn't help it out much. Really, it's going to be using Giga Drain all the time. It doesn't have very much PP for Giga Drain. Pin Missile kind of sucks. Solar Beam takes a turn to set up if it's not in Sun, and then Sucker Punch has to rely on your opponent hitting. Although that's probably going to hit every time because you're probably not going to have something just setting up in your face the entire game. So this thing can hit. It just, it's just meh. Next up, we got Hawlucha, and Hawlucha is lower on this list for the reason that, it's, again, a glass cannon, and it's probably going to die really quickly. Yeah. There's not a whole lot of situations where a fighting and flying type are useful, because if you're going to bring a fighting type, it's probably against a rock type, or steel type, and, I mean, the steel type's fine for this, but, like, if it's against a rock type, it's going to get damaged by the rock move, obviously. If you're dealing with, something like a grass type or something like that, some of them have carry moves like that too. So, Hawlucha is not the greatest. I wish it had an item. If it had like a, if it had the Unburden thing, it would be great. But they have a lot of missed opportunity here with Hawlucha, and that's honestly why it's this low. It just has so much missed opportunity. It could be so good, and they've failed to make it anywhere decent. So, sorry. Next up is Solrock. Oh my gosh, this is the reason I made this video. Okay, so I had the Solrock guy literally in like every raid I've did for like the first 10 raids. Every single one of them had a Solrock guy, and literally all he did the entire time we were battling was use Cosmic Power and Rock Polish. Setup in this kind of battle is not useful, and the reason that is because the Pokemon you're going to be facing can nullify the stat changes, so it doesn't really matter that you set up on it. You kind of just want to punch things in the face, and so taking 2 of your 4 move slots to set up that is useless, not efficient, and especially when you do it every single turn. Just no, you're bad. Next we got Magikarp. Alright, this is another one I've seen a lot of people hate on, and the reason is Magikarp actually gets 3 attacks, which is good. It's got a Focus Sash, so it can live a hit, which is probably going to need. But it has Hydro Pump, and Hydro Pump is a very missable move, and oftentimes Magikarp will use Hydro Pump when you're dealing with the shield, when you just want to hit the thing. So it's really frustrating to have, and it also is very frail, and it's going to die. So, yeah. If they made the AI use like Tackle and Flail when the shield was up, that'd be great, and then Hydro Pump when not. But yeah, it's just kind of bad otherwise. So yeah. Next up is Wishy-Washy. Now Wishy-Washy is pretty good for the first part. The issue is its ability schooling. So once it gets hit to a low enough point, Wishy-Washy loses pretty much every single stat it has and any usefulness it ever brought to this game, which makes it a very difficult Pokemon to run because it's going to die, and that's not good. So, just be weary of this thing. It's probably going to die quickly, and if it doesn't die the first turn, it's going to be picked up by one of the spread moves of your opponent, so it's not really, it's going to die just a lot. It can be useful at the beginning of the turn or when it comes back in from fainting, but yeah, other than that, it's really got 8 turns to do anything, and then it's just going to die for you. So, I mean, that's nice. Always nice to have things die on you. Next up is Mudbray, and Mudbray actually is decent as well. It has Focus Sash, and it doesn't have the right ability because it doesn't have Stamina, which would actually be useful. Strength is kind of Rock Tomb misses quite a bit. Superpower lowers your stats, so that's not great. And then High Horsepower is pretty much the only move it's going to be using. So, again, very frail. If this is a Mudsdale, it might be useful, but it's a Mudbray, and it just kind of, it's bad. So, evolve your Pokemon, William. Oh boy, Togepi. Oh boy. So, Togepi hits here. and it only really outclasses the next pick on this list because it has the potential to get an ancient power boost, which still is not very useful because, as I mentioned before, the Gigantamax Pokemon or Dynamax Pokemon in the den can alter and get rid of your stat changes. So, and it's only like a 10 or 20% chance for it to happen anyway. So, but it does have Life Dew, which can heal up everybody. Often it goes for it, and then Draining Kiss is another option to heal up. But Togepi is really frail, so the reason it has a Focus Sash is because it can get one shot by anything. Literally anything can one shot this thing. So it's great. It's wonderful. Next up is the Clefairy. So the reason I said this thing sucks is because often it's gonna just go for Follow Me and Life Dew. It doesn't even use its moves. And while it's nice not to be hit by a move, it's really bad when you don't have a Focus Sash, because this thing will come back in and use Follow Me and then it will die. Again. And again. And again. Like, Clefairy is just useless. Dazzling Gleam is nice. Disarming Voice is nice. But they are never used. It's the same thing as Togepi. You're just going to use Life Dew and Follow Me. It's not great. You want to be able to hit your opponent. So stop hitting. Stop healing and stop making it hit you and deal with your opponent. Next, we got Wobbuffet as our penultimate pick for the worst mon on this list. Oh my gosh, Wobbuffet. Okay, you might be looking at me like, Chaos, why is Wobbuffet not the worst? It doesn't have any attacking moves. Alright, if it hits counter or mirror code, it's going to be good. The only thing is it has to hit counter or mirror code. Often it's going to go for Safeguard and Amnesia. That's the same as the other ones. But at least they have a move that's going to hit every single turn. Counter and mirror code is just a wishy-washy thing that's thrown out there. It depends on what the AI decides to go for, and usually it's never right. So Wobbuffet just kind of sits there, but at least it sits there. And that's what keeps it from the #1 spot, which is Combi. Oh, dude, I'm so glad I've never seen one of these in a battle, because this thing is terrible. No Focus Sash, nothing. You're going to get one shot by literally everything, because Bug is so weak to everything, and then Flying's weak to everything else. So there you go. It's going to die to everything. Doesn't really have any good moves. Sweet Sense is why? Why Sweet Scent even here? Bug Bite, Struggle Bug, and Gust. And it doesn't have a good stat at all. Like, this thing has no attack. So it's literally just sitting here waiting to die. That's all it's doing. And then, like, give it a Focus Sash, and it might actually be decent. It'd be decent. It'd be better than the Wobbuffet at that point. But it doesn't have a chance to even live a shot. It's just going to die. And I'm so glad that I've never seen one of these in my raids. So I'm really thankful for that. But that is going to wrap up my ranking of every max raid trainer from best to worst. Let me know what ones you guys don't like in the comment section down below. And while you're here and down there, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, so that way you never miss content on my channel. Make sure you hit that notification bell. Turn on that bell to get notified when I go live with videos, because YouTube does this thing where sub boxes don't take every single subscription that you have and give you videos for them. So hit that notification bell so you see mine. And I'm very interested to see what you guys think. Let me know how you're enjoying Sword and Shield as well. And that's all I have for you today. So thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed. And until next time, my name is Chaos, and I'm signing off. Stay safe, and as always, burn it up.